Continuing with our 2021 LEDA tradition, LEDA's Alumni Honoree Award was created to celebrate the many accomplishments of our LEDA community members. This year, we are excited to bestow this honor and award on Brittany Hardy, a member of LEDA Cohort 5. Brittany recently joined Google as a senior policy specialist, supporting the global policy and standards knowledge and insights team. At Google, Brittany focuses on the Middle East, North Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa regions, where she helps develop more effective, enforceable, and culturally aware and inclusive policies.
Prior to her time at Google, Brittany was a Foreign Service Officer with the U.S. Department of State for nearly 6 years. During her tenure with the State Department, Brittany served in Brazil, Mexico, and Washington, D.C. in both consular and public diplomacy roles. In 2014, Brittany graduated from Princeton, where she received her bachelor's degree in religion and minored in African American studies and Spanish. She received her master's in public diplomacy at the University of Southern California in 2016. When she isn't working, Brittany is most often found wedding planning and spending time with her fiancé, Shad, and their 18-month-old son, Romero. And now, without further ado, it is our honor to welcome our final honoree for the evening, Ms. Brittany Hardy.
So thankful to be here. So blessed, so blessed. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brittany Hardy, and I'm a member of LEDA Cohort 5. Tonight, I stand before you just over a decade after my life-changing experience with LEDA. My time at LEDA taught me that being a leader doesn't mean you have all the answers, or that you have to make decisions on your own. But one of the strongest aspects of being a leader is asking for input and utilizing the resources that you have around you. It's about showing your humanity and your willingness to constantly grow in the midst of unexpected daily challenges, both seen and unseen. So I'd like to go back in time and revisit my 16-year-old self. Imagine this, it's 2008, and I was a high-achieving junior in high school. I had a high GPA, and I was part of the International Baccalaureate program. I was also involved in a plethora of activities, including writing for a local magazine and participating in a theater arts mentoring program. I saw my education as a way out of poverty and a stepping stone into a promising future. My parents had me very young, at 19 years old. Well, really, they were married at 19 and had me at 21. So I grew up with my parents. They were back in the military. So we were never rich by any means, but they always made sure they provided what I needed most so that I would never go without. Nonetheless, there were certain, I guess you call luxuries, that some of my classmates had that I did not have, like private school and testing tutors. In reality, adequate access to educational tools are necessities that propel a student forward, not luxuries. Although these disparities became evident to me at a very young age, they only motivated me to study more and to work harder. I aspired to be the first in my family to graduate, to break down existing socioeconomic barriers. And one day, I was given the chance to do just that. I was called down to my guidance counselor's office at North High School. And when I arrived, Mrs. Dolan spoke to me about LEDA, a program that helps high-achieving students matriculate into top universities. I applied right away, and a few months later, I was selected to be a LEDA Scholar. My LEDA summer at Princeton was incredible in that it taught me that my experiences were not isolated. There were 49 other scholars from similar socioeconomic backgrounds who wanted to succeed academically and professionally, and more importantly, to uplift their own communities. Through these interactions with scholars from other regional, ethnic, and cultural backgrounds, LEDA opened my eyes to my role as a global citizen. I grew up in Gary, Indiana, and despite it being the hometown of Michael Jackson, it is one of the most economically depressed places in this country. My first time traveling abroad was at age 20 when I studied in Greece for a semester. It was there that I truly realized how important one person can be. I had never considered myself a representative of my country. I never had a reason to represent my country. It took a nearly 7,000-mile trip for me to see that my life and my experiences mattered. I first learned about the role of a diplomat when my study abroad program took us to the US Embassy in Athens. I never knew there was a career path that would allow me to not only experience new cultures, but also to share my own experiences as an African American woman and as a first-generation college graduate. I ultimately pursued a career in diplomacy at the State Department, and I served in Brazil, Mexico, and DC. I now work at Google as a senior policy specialist. Much like my 16-year-old self, I seek to address inequities around me by giving a voice to the disenfranchised. At Google, I share my knowledge and insights on religious and cultural nuances in the Middle East, North Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa prior to policy implementation. The goal is to create more inclusive and culturally aware policies globally. I learned two valuable lessons from LEDA. First, a humble leader can learn from anyone. And secondly, a good leader should be of great service to those around them. I vividly recall our Socratic seminar on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Niccolo Machiavelli, two near diametrically opposed leaders. That LEDA summer, we discussed the Machiavellian aspects or approaches found in King's letter from a Birmingham jail, and how crucial his servant leadership was for our nation and for the world as a whole. Our LEDA classroom discussions offered me a variety of perspectives, and these perspectives allowed me to freely explore the teachings of key leaders in history and define what type of leader I wanted to be. I'm so honored to be surrounded by such inspiring people here tonight who continue to excel in their respective careers, from activists to doctors to politicians. I'm grateful for all the lifelong friendships, lessons in leadership, and support that I've received thanks to LEDA. I'm incredibly proud to be a LEDA Scholar and for the opportunity to give back to students like the 16-year-old Brittany, who are just trying to find their way and make a difference in this world. Thank you.